Hello, this is my submission to AGDQ 2025 for Echo Point Nova any percent. We're going to be analyzing my current BB of 1421, and I'm super excited to be showing this off because it's a really nice first-person shooter with a lot of really good movement. This came out in late September, and so I'm really excited to be showing it off right here. We're just going to go straight into the run. Timing is going to begin once I enter the first area and do my first input. And so right after this loading screen. And so with that being said, we're going to go straight into it. Right off the bat, we're going to see me getting a specific weapon and also a specific item that I'm going to be using consistently throughout the run, which is, of course, just the regular pistol and the jump boots, which will allow you to double jump. And so those are pretty essential items that we're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the run. And we're also going to be getting another weapon that we're going to be using pretty consistently that allows us to shoot bullets a lot faster than with a pistol, but we're going to be using both of them interchangeably throughout the rest of the run, and that's this one, the SAS-9. And so you can see here that a lot of the movement is just going to be based off of jumping and also preserving momentum as we jump. You can see in the bottom left corner there is a speedometer that is typically required for runs, and it allows you to see just exactly how fast I am moving within the game zone metric. And of course, we're also going to be getting this other piece of equipment right here, the pickaxe, that allows us to dig through most terrains, not every single terrain, but we also have another way to get through that later. And of course, right here, we also have the hoverboard, which is going to be our main method of movement throughout the rest of the run. As you can see here, we're going pretty fast with the hoverboard on it, and we can get traction on these boost pads that are going to be either on walls or on the floor. As you can see, we can gain a lot of momentum through them. And so with this specific hoverboard, when you're in the air, your speed will cap at around 110 to 112 miles per hour, so long as you have the hoverboard equipped. If you want to garner more speed than that, you will have to get rid of the hoverboard, and we're going to be seeing that in a few other instances here. But if you are faster than 110 miles per hour, using the hoverboard will kind of like bring you back down. But there are certain spots in which we're going to try and garner as much speed as possible. Like right here, it's like a really good example of preserving a lot of momentum. I never really let go of the hoverboard in this specific spot because I don't lose speed fast enough to really merit it, and I immediately had to build up speed again. But right here, you can see that I am moving up to 154 miles per hour, and I get up to 208 miles per hour here. And so I don't use the hoverboard because otherwise my speed is going to go back down. And so right here, near the Molten Forest, we're going to be having a lot of really good movements. And we're going to be grappling onto this volcano here on the side. Typically, you want to be getting onto the cloud up there to give you a little bit more height, but as a decent backup, you can get onto the volcano right there. And so we're going to be going over here. The first area that we're going to be going to directly is Black Forge. That is an area that we're going to be unlocking later, but we of course have to go through a lot of these other areas first. With the open world nature of this game, it really allows us to go to any area that we want to, pretty much whenever we want to. So right there, we're going to unlock Black Forge, and then we're going to head over to that huge volcano that you see in the distance, right over there. Over there is a huge boss, because of course we always have to have a huge boss in a huge volcano. But this is a really prime example of me just garnering as much speed as possible, keeping it, and trying to have as much momentum as I can throughout the run. Because as you can see, it'll stay that way as long as you keep holding forward and you don't use your hoverboard. It won't go down. You can pretty much go as fast as like over 250 miles per hour if you really are fast enough. The only downside of that about the speedometer, it only measures horizontal speed, and so if you're going vertically up really high, it might show that the speedometer is saying like 20 miles per hour, 0 miles per hour even. But if you're going directly up, that is. But of course, you are garnering a lot of speed. As you can see here, up to 241 miles per hour. So much so that we're going to be actually skipping that jump pad right here, and we're just going to be keeping the momentum up throughout the rest of this volcano. As soon as we get to around the halfway point, you can see that there are some red icons in the distance. Those are the weak points of the boss that we're going to be doing. And so we're going to be unlocking this area, and as soon as as soon as we enter, we're just going immediately towards these weak points. We're going to be using the pistol right here, because each of these weak points will only need 3 shots from our pistol to get rid of them. 1, 2, 3, boom. That's really nice. And so this Colossus, there's 2 of them in the run. One is the final boss and one is the midway boss. And so right here, we're going to be using this, and the pistol is definitely the fastest way to do it, especially if you just keep spamming the pistol within its weak points, because it requires the least amount of shots. But usually I bring out the SAS-9 if I accidentally miss a shot, or if I need to wait for the pistol to reload. And so one of the most annoying things about this is that, of course, you are also having to deal with all the movements from all different movements from the Colossus, and so that affects your momentum in ways that you don't really think about until they start happening. And so, like, you don't move with the Colossus, and so that's like something that like really is annoying sometimes when having to deal with it. But thankfully, aside from that one slip up where we had to like respawn onto the Colossus, that was an extremely good Colossus fight. And so now we have this brand new ability known as the Wind Power. And the Wind Power does a lot of really good things. First and foremost, it allows us to essentially garner infinite amount of speed so long as we aren't using our hoverboard, and also allows us to go through any kind of material, any kind of substance. It doesn't have to be stone or anything. Like, you can dig with your pickaxe, you can go through molten rock, you can go through metal. The Wind Power allows you to essentially just go through any kind of terrain. We're going to be right now collecting 8 different artifacts, which you can see are those things that I've collected that are like that shine like that. We're going to be collecting these artifacts in order to unlock the final boss of the game, and also the very last area of the game, which is up in space. And so you can see that I'm not using the hoverboard, and I'm using the Wind Power to get as much horizontal speed as I can. And it's really useful because you can get a lot of speed incredibly quickly with the Wind Power. We're going to go into this next area. This one is particularly tricky because you don't want to use your hoverboard, but you also want to make sure that your movement is clean enough to where you don't accidentally hit anything. And in this area, it's faster to just use your pickaxe to dig the rest of the way instead of waiting for your Wind Power to recharge. Typically, you can see in the bottom left corner that our Wind Power has like 3 full uses before that bar fills all the way back up and we can use them again. But of course, you can also just keep using them 1 at a time or 2 at a time, depending on how full the bar is. So that's another artifact that we're going to get. We're also going to get one at the top of this ice mountain. And so that's a wonderful, just 2 artifacts we're going to be getting right here. 3 even, actually. My mistake. I counted the one at the bottom as a separate one for some reason. But there's 3 artifacts right here in this mountain that we're going to be getting. Boom. And so now we have to go way to the other end of the map where the desert is. And I legitimately just want to like highlight just how much of the game we're skipping with this late game item and with getting as much momentum as possible. It is areas and areas and areas worth of combat, all to beat the game in just under 15 minutes. It's really, really fun, and just preserving as much momentum as possible is something that I never get tired of in this game. It is beautiful. Hence why I get people like games like Titanfall 2, where the movement is just incredible. The movement in this game is incredible, and I absolutely love it to death. So with that being said, we're going to go straight over here to the desert, the huge, huge desert, as the game calls it. We're going to be going to this specific area right here, and we're going to be digging straight down, using the Wind Power, and then using our axe for the rest of it, just because it's a little bit faster, and only because you need to have a little bit more than just two Wind Powers charged up for this next area, because you're going to be using one here, you're going to be using one at the end of this room, and then you're going to be using one to get the artifact in this area. A little bit of a slip up right here, but a nice recovery still. And so we're just going to be using one more here, and then one more over here. And then we're going to be going to this next area, which this area specifically is actually a pretty early game area. Like I found this area pretty early on in my casual playthrough. They direct you here pretty early on to fight a bunch of enemies in this chamber at the bottom of this tree. But you can just use wind power in order to get there earlier and get this artifact without even needing to fight anyone, which is, thank God that all the artifacts are just spawned in automatically, and you don't have to actually like fight any of the enemies to unlock them. They're all spawned in automatically from the moment you start at the beginning of the game. So with that being said, we're going to get our final artifact right here in this early game area by using Wind Forge again, or Wind Power again, I should say. That's the last artifact, and then we're going to place all of our artifacts here at Summon. Even this particular area, you do see pretty early on in the game. It doesn't take that much to get to in terms of distance. And so as soon as you put all the artifacts in, you can just leave the room, and then a bunch of the terrain, a bunch of the earth comes out, and all of that is like pretty much the final area. We're going to be traveling to all of those things that you see up there. Traveling in huge quotes, because we're actually going to be skipping all of it in a really nice area. This is just me messing around because I'm just waiting for a specific sign. I'm waiting for that guy to lift up so I can use my grapple on this cloud to get a bit more distance and preserve that momentum throughout the rest of this area up here. And so we're going to be jumping here. One thing about the mechanic that you see me like going down is that I have to jump before I stomp. And so that's something that I do consistently throughout this run. And so we're going to be using the wakeboard here to gain as much momentum as we can upwards by jumping on the sides of this this tree right here, and then using wind power to progressively get more and more vertical momentum in order to get up into space, skipping all of this platforming and area that you see right here, all the intended ways of getting up, when in reality, the moment that you get up into space after you hit a certain threshold, you can just keep preserving that momentum, because you're going to be consistently floating in space. At some point, gravity just cuts off, and you'll just keep floating in the direction that momentum will lead you. And we use that to our advantage here, and also try to redirect a lot of our movement by using the grapple on all of this rebel that we're seeing here. So we're approaching the end of the run pretty quickly. We just need to get through these next few pieces of terrain right here, and we do lose a little bit of momentum, but we gain it back really, really fast, once again, with the power of wind power. And so after this area, this specific piece of rebel, you're going to see me unlock the next area. Boom. And right here, that activates the final boss. As soon as you hear that, you can see in the distance there's a lot of weak points that we're going to be going to, and also a lot of weapons that will be shooting directly at us. And so again, for the most part, much like with the first Colossus, you want to be using the pistol because it's a little faster than the SAS-9. And so we're going to be redirecting, and we're going to go straight to the top weak point here. Unlike the first Colossus, every time that you defeat a weak point in this Colossus, the area around the weak point will disappear. So that is a little bit beneficial to us because it allows us to go around the certain obstacles pretty quickly, because you can just go towards the area that's being disappeared. And so right here, we're going to be using our SAS-9 only because it has a little bit more distance than the pistol, and also it's easier to aim with in long distance areas than the pistol is, which is very, very nice. And so right here, we're going to be going down, and all of the top weak points have been fixed. Arguably, that, in my opinion, is a bit of a harder one to deal with, and while there are more weapons down here that could kill you, the movement in this like bottom half of the Colossus is a lot better. Especially because there's also a lot of areas where you can regain your health. Despite me having gotten shot a lot throughout this area, you can see that there's like small little blue hearts that you can see throughout the terrain that will allow you to see to refill your health, which is very nice. And it allows you to like get a little bit of a load off when it comes to the stress of needing to stay alive. But with that being said, we're going to go straight towards the final weak point here, and timing will stop the moment that I shoot it and Echo Point Nova appears on screen. Time. All right, that's perfect. And I absolutely loved doing that run. When I was doing it, of course, not currently now because it's post commentary, but still, absolutely love this run. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I absolutely hope that I was able to explain it thoroughly enough to you and put on a good enough show, or hopefully to put on a good enough show for AGDQ 2025. I absolutely love this game and the speed run behind it. It's so much fun, and if I had more time, I'd definitely like move around in other categories, but with that being said, that is my submission for Echo Point Nova 90% into AGDQ. I hope y'all liked it as much as I do, and I'm hoping to put on a good show if you would want to have it in the marathon. So with that being said, my name is Osborne, and I will see you around. Have a good one.